As a class, you showed me that you could figure out Nathaniel Hawthorne, I think, better than any other class I've ever had. Hawthorne is not easy, but you folks got into him and figured out a lot of the symbols in there, figured them out really well. I was extremely pleased with the work that you did last week. However, not all of you emailed me to tell me the symbolism of my having worn red last week as I spoke to you in front of the fire. By the way, there is a symbolism in the black that I wear today. It shouldn't take a rocket scientist for you to figure that one out, but email me on that one, everybody please, and let me know why you think I am wearing a black shirt to speak with you today. Okay? Last week you showed me that you really understand what symbols mean. And a few weeks ago, you showed me very clearly that you know how to figure out themes in stories. This week we're, to some degree, combining those two things, okay? We're talking about the story, The Minister's Black Veil. And this is another New England Puritan story. So we're talking, in the same frame of mind that we were last week with Nathaniel Hawthorne. This is another Nathaniel Hawthorne story. And another pretty darn intense story, okay? It's not, I don't think it's the depressing kind of story that Goodman Brown was. I don't think so. And yet there's a downside to it, as you will see when you read the story, because so many people, almost everybody, is unable to figure out why Parson Hooper wears a black veil. To give you just a little bit of background, because you may not have read the story yet, and this will help you understand a little bit more of what I'm talking about today. Parson Hooper is a young minister in his town, and one week he is speaking to his congregation about secret sin. Okay, when he does this, when he gives this sermon, he puts on a black veil. Okay? Now, you can think about that in the first place. The startling part about this is he won't take off the black veil afterwards. Okay? So, there are a number of symbols in this story besides the black veil. Now, the black veil you can figure out, and I want you to tell me about it, because, what I want you to do is put together the symbols that you find in this story, and you should be able to find 4 or 5 symbols. One of them is a given, the black veil. What's that a symbol of, And there's another that's not quite so easy, but I'll just kind of throw it out there, that Parson Hooper shudders when he is at a wake. And I'll let you figure out the why of that. I'm not going to detail that out, but think about putting the head down, okay? Now, in the story, Parson Hooper never takes off that black veil. Okay, he is engaged, and the woman he's engaged to wants him to take off the black veil, and he refuses. And he gets to be a pretty well-known minister. People come from miles around to hear him preach. So he is a powerful, successful minister because people come to hear him. Okay, but all of that being said, people refuse to understand all the way along why he wouldn't take off the black veil. So, again, in this story, I want you to delve into the symbols that Hawthorne uses for us again, okay? The symbols in here are extremely important, and I want you to tie those symbols into the theme of the story. What is Parson Hooper really trying to tell us? What is the theme of this story? Because that's what Parson Hooper is trying to tell us. Okay, and then right near the end of the story, Parson Hooper is, to put it bluntly, on his deathbed. The second last paragraph of the story, I think, is the most powerful and telling paragraph of the entire story. And so in your essay, I want your interpretation of what that second last paragraph is all about. Okay? And just to make sure you have no questions about what I mean by the second last paragraph in the story, it's on page 322, and it goes like this. "Why do you tremble at me alone?" cried he, turning his veiled face round the circle of pale spectators. "Tremble also at each other. Have men avoided me, and women shown no pity, and children screamed and fled, only for my black veil? What but the mystery which it obscurely typifies has made this piece of crape so awful? When the friend shows his inmost heart to his friend, the lover to his best beloved, when man does not vainly shrink from the eye of his Creator, loathsomely treasuring up the secret of his sin, then deem me a monster for the symbol beneath which I have lived and die. I look around me, and lo, on every visage, a black veil." Okay, that's a paragraph that once you tie symbols into theme, I want you to really delve into that paragraph and give me your explanation of what's going on in that paragraph. And there's not just a single explanation. There's a bunch of possible different ones. Okay, and some people think the minister is just nuts. That's the way some people interpret this whole story. So I want you to think about that. I want you to delve into what that's all about. So again, this week we're talking about Nathaniel Hawthorne. And of course, all of this is really appropriate because now we're right in the middle of the season of Lent, the season of preparation for the renewal of Easter, the risen Christ, the season of repentance and atonement. And so all of this fits in with the season. And it's kind of cool that what we're reading in literature can be so appropriate for ourselves, okay? You demonstrated to me, and I said this in the lesson for this week too, you've shown me that you've come to the realization that stories can be more than just stories. You've seen how they're put together, and so often people tied their own experiences into what they were reading in short stories. To me, that's really special because that means you're making the story personal. Okay, I'm not asking you to do that here. We're not here for you to go to confession. That's not what it's all about. But I want you to carefully read this story, and you may have to read it twice, and that's okay because there's only one story this week, as there was last week. So if you have to read it twice, not a terrible thing. And think deeply about what it's all about. Tie theme and symbols together, and then that second last paragraph. What in the world is Parson Hooper really saying to us? And detail it out well for us. Okay? I will see you soon.